Hi, welcome back to Research Flow. Today we have Luca Micheli here, and we are very excited to talk to him about science and some of your research. So, do you want to start off?
Yes. Hi, Luca. How you
Hi.
doing?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah. So, what are you from?
I'm from Brazil. I'm from Rio specifically. The best town
The
in Brazil,
best.
let's be honest.
Yeah. It's the one I've heard the most about. So.
And how did you ended up in MSU?
How did I ended up in LSU? Well, so I got an invitation from my PI actually. I was very lucky to be here because I was originally thinking of staying in Brazil, but my advisor, Gregory Tom, he was like he just got hired here, but before he was working on M&H, and then before that I was already in touch with him to work on my master's, so I got to know him there. And one day, my former PI from Brazil got an email from Greg saying, "I'm looking for students. Do you have anyone that's like at the end of finishing the master's?" Like, yeah. And Marcos, my former advisor, he mentioned me, and that's how I kind of formalized things. And that's how I ended up here.
Did
That's
you? Yeah. Did you get your bachelor's and then your master's at the same university?
So no, I actually got a licentiate. It's a different degree in Brazil that's meant to train teachers for the basic education level. But lots of people in Brazil still go forward with research. It doesn't have to be like the thing is you don't have to do a thesis, but like it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So I did my licentiate in UNIRIO. It's a beautiful university right next to the entrance of the Guanabara Bay. It's awesome. And like I don't know, you guys should Google it out. It has amazing spots.
Yeah, what's it called
And
again?
UNIRIO, so
Unirio.
Federal University from the state of Rio de
Oh,
Janeiro.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I did my master's at the National Museum. And that's basically a different campus from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. So yeah, different places. But I've always been a museum student, even when I was in undergrad.
And how did you get interested in working in genomics, population genomics?
Mm, yeah, I was always keen on in studying genetics ever since undergrad. I had a rough time actually staying in biology because like in Brazil we don't have that much resource to study like science that is up to date on molecular work, and so I thought maybe I should have switched to um, biomedicine. It's like biochem, but like more focused on human genetics and stuff. But thankfully I didn't because I got to know birds and I first started working on taxonomy of this hummingbird, the black-eared fairy. So it's a Amazonian Atlantic forest disjunct taxon, and I used to like spectro photometry and like it didn't go forward because of the pandemic. But after that, I got my project from my co-advisor studying the royal flatcatcher, and that's how I got into using molecular data. That's actually the sequence.
Okay.
It was a pandemic project, but like that's how I got here. That's how I learned the skills that got me here. So it's really cool.
Yeah. So if it weren't for the pandemic, how would your research change? Like, how was the pandemic impacted?
Well, I think it would have been better. I would still work on molecular stuff, and most likely I would be able to complete my undergraduate research because I had fieldwork planned out. I had museum collections planned out to visit and like collect data for it, and I was really excited. But then March happened, and like yeah, it would have been better in that sense. And I think in my master's, I would be able to do an even better project. I mean, in the sense that, so for my master's, I got very good data. So UCEs, you guys know what it is? It's like a marker that's like very useful for macro evolution and micro evolution. So like going very broad scale and short scale. And these are pretty good because in Brazil, it's expensive to get that kind of data, like to sequence that like the currency balance between Brazilian reais and US dollars is like 6 to 1. So it's
Wow.
pretty expensive. So, but I mean, I would have liked to do like more of the lab work. So, extract DNA and send it to sequencing. Like everything that I'm doing now, I'm getting to learn right now. I've never
Yeah.
done it before because of the pandemic, but like from bioinformatics standpoint, UCs can be quite heavily if you want to do population genetics. And yeah, I mean, it's a skill, but like, it would have been more complete, like with
Yeah.
what I had in mind. It was all very unexpected, and I mean, it went okay, all right.
Yeah. So for the people that don't know, what is population genomics?
So population genomics is so it started out as population genetics to and back the 1930s and a little bit after that. Um, it was all theoretical work at that point. So a bunch of scientists they decided that they wanted to know how genes and alleles would drift in populations. So they started out studying phenotypes, so actual traits of people and how that is distributed in the population. But then after Mendel's first and second rules and how it established the basic framework of how alleles behave in populations, then they started to get to work on that. And it wasn't single genes because in Mendel he was working with specific traits, so big A, small a, all of that. So that's from the standpoint of genetics, so like a single gene and how that behaves. So genomics, you take into account the whole DNA, all the DNA, mitochondrial DNA, if you could like. That's it if you behaves in a different way. But yeah, genomics just an advancable, I think, to like more big data.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how similar or different is your current project compared with what you did for your master's?
Mm. So for my master's, I studied phylogeography of the royal flycatcher, and that's an Amazonian endemic bird, but it has like a separate species in the Atlantic forest as well. But they're really closely related. The thing that separates them is that they're a fairly old taxa. So I use that as an outgroup. So for phylogeography, it's it's basically kind of a follow up in investigating the distribution of allele frequencies in space. So instead of taking the whole population, you narrow down a specific sample space and they want to investigate how alleles are in space and how like is there a barrier that's separating so you have more alleles of this type here and of another type over there and does that coincide with the barrier because the alleles they don't know that there is there
Okay.
they
Yeah.
just behave in that way so like to be able to correlate that with um allele frequencies and biogeographic barriers that's how you end up so it's basically like population genetics and biogeography. That's what I did. And for the royal flycatcher, um, so to start it off, I think it's a beautiful bird. You guys should definitely check it out.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
got
going to
like,
put a picture.
oh, cool, nice, and like it's got its very beautiful red crest. The male has a red one, and the female she also has a crest, but it's orange. So for birds, like secondary traits, so like things that are useful for reproduction that the female likes and the male usually displays it. It doesn't occur on the royal flycatcher. Like the female also has it, and it's kind of a mystery. Like there are some hypotheses on why it has that, because it so when you catch a royal flycatcher in the mist net, when you pick it up, it opens its mouth and like goes left and right. It does this kind of motion and it
Okay.
opens the crest. So people don't know what that's for. And they think it's trying to mimic a serpent, but it doesn't look like one, like in any way.
Yeah.
And it also displays that behavior with the female as well for courtship and communication. So they both like they're perching on a branch and they're like moving their heads and it's a bird that's very associated with water as well. It likes to make its nests on top of streams and small rivers. So at first we thought that it was a bird that was because of his high association with water that it would behave in a way like from the population genetics view, it would behave in a way to what we call floodplain birds. So there's this thing in Amazonian biogeography that you categorize birds based on the type of forest that they live. So upland forest and floodplain forests. Floodplain birds, they like disperse through river channels.
Mm.
So if rivers are not exactly a barrier for them, they can disperse, and then you would see like a signal that's basically a mess, like the alleles are everywhere because they're dispersing. But that's not what happened to the royal flycatcher. So we were fairly surprised at that. So the rivers, the major Amazonian rivers, they act as a barrier. So in each interfluve in Amazonia has about seven of them. Um, there are specific alleles that are unique to each interfluve. So we thought that was funny, and I mean it was a surprise in a way, and that's the first thing. And the second thing is that not all of the analyses I was already in touch with him to work on my master's, so I got to know him there. And one day, my former PI from Brazil got an email from Greg saying, "I'm looking for students. Do you have anyone that's like at the end of finishing the master's?" Like, yeah. And Marcos, my former advisor, he mentioned me, and that's how I kind of formalized things. And that's how I ended up here.
Did you, yeah, did you get your bachelor's and then your master's at the same university?
So no, I actually got a licentiate. It's a different degree in Brazil that's meant to train teachers for the basic education level. But lots of people in Brazil still go forward with research. It doesn't have to be like the thing is you don't have to do a thesis, but like it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So I did my licentiate in UNIRIO. It's a beautiful university right next to the entrance of the Guanabara Bay. It's awesome. And like I don't know, you guys should Google it out. It has amazing spots.
Yeah, what's it called
And
again?
Unirio, so
Unirio.
Federal University from the state of Rio de
Oh,
Janeiro.
okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
and I did my master's at the National Museum. And that's basically a different campus from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. So yeah, different places. But I've always been a museum student, even when I was in undergrad.
And how did you get interested in working in genomics, population genomics?
Mm, yeah, I was always keen on studying genetics ever since undergrad. I had a rough time actually staying in biology because like in Brazil we don't have that much resource to study like science that is up to date on molecular work, and so I thought maybe I should have switched to um, biomedicine. It's like biochem, but like more focused on human genetics and stuff. But thankfully I didn't because I got to know birds and I first started working on taxonomy of this hummingbird, the black-eared fairy. So it's a Amazonian Atlantic forest disjunct taxon, and I used like spectrophotometry and like it didn't go forward because of the pandemic. But after that, I got my project from my co-advisor studying the royal flycatcher, and that's how I got into using molecular data. That's actually been sequenced. It
Okay.
was a it was a pandemic project, but like that's how I got here. That's how I learned the skills that got me here. So it's really cool.
Yeah. So if it weren't for the pandemic, how would your research change? Like, how was the pandemic impacted?
Well, I think it would have been better. I would
Yeah.
still work on molecular stuff, and most likely I would be able to complete my undergraduate research because I had field work planned out. I had museum collections planned out to visit and like collect data for it, and I was really excited. But then March happened, and like yeah, it would have been better in that sense. And I think in my master's, I would be able to do an even better project. I mean, in the sense that, so for my master's, I got very good data. So UCEs, you guys know what it is? It's like a marker that's like very useful for macro evolution and micro evolution. So like going very broad scale and short scale. And these are pretty good because in Brazil, it's expensive to get that kind of data, like to sequence that like the currency balance between Brazilian reais and US dollar is like 6 to 1. So it's
Wow.
pretty expensive. So, but I mean, I would have liked to do like more of the lab work. So, extract DNA and send it to sequencing. Like everything that I'm doing now, I'm getting to learn right now. I've never done that before because of the pandemic, but from bioinformatics standpoint, UCs can be quite heavily if you want to do population genetics. And yeah, I mean, it's a skill, but it would have been more complete, I think, with what I had in mind. It was all very unexpected, and I mean, it went okay. All right.
Yeah. So for the people that don't know, what is population genomics?
So population genomics is so it started out as population genetics to and back the 1930s and a little bit after that. Um, it was all theoretical work at that point. So a bunch of scientists they decided that they wanted to know how genes and alleles would drift in populations. So they started out studying phenotypes, so actual traits of people and how that is distributed in the population, but then after Mendel's first and second rules and how it established the basic framework of how alleles behave in populations, then they started to get to work on that. And it wasn't single genes because in Mendel he was working with specific traits, so big A, small a, all of that. So that's the standpoint of genetics, so like a single gene and how that behaves. So genomics, you take into account the whole DNA, all the DNA, mitochondrial DNA, if you could like. That's it if you behaves in a different way. But yeah, genomics just an advancement, I think, to like more big data.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how similar or different is your current project compared with what you did for your master's?
Mm. So for my master's, I studied phylogeography of the royal flycatcher, and that's an Amazonian endemic bird, but it has like a separate species in the Atlantic forest as well. But they're really closely related. The thing that separates them is that they're a fairly old taxa. So I use that as an outgroup. So for phylogeography, it's it's basically kind of a follow up in investigating the distribution of allele frequencies in space. So instead of taking the whole population, you narrow down a specific sample space and they want to investigate how alleles are in space and how like is there a barrier that's separating so you have more alleles of this type here and of another type over there and does that coincide with the barrier because the alleles they don't know that there is there
Okay,
they
yeah.
just behave in that way so like to be able to correlate that with um allele frequencies and biogeographic barriers that's how you end up so it's basically like population genetics and biogeography. That's what I did. And for the royal flycatcher, um, so to start it off, I think it's a beautiful bird. You guys should definitely check it out.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
got
going to
like,
put a picture.
oh, cool, nice. And like it's got its very beautiful red crest. The male has a red one, and the female she also has a crest, but it's orange. So for birds, like secondary traits, so like things that are useful for reproduction that the female likes and the male usually displays it, it doesn't occur on the royal flycatcher. Like the female also has it, and it's kind of a mystery. Like there are some hypotheses on why it has that, because it so when you catch a royal flycatcher in the mist net, when you pick it up, it opens its mouth and like goes left and right. It does this kind of motion and it
Okay.
opens the crest. So people don't know what that's for. And they think it's trying to mimic a serpent, but it doesn't look like one, like in any way. And it also displays that behavior with the female as well for courtship and communication. So they both like they're perching on a branch and they're like moving their heads. And it's a bird that's very associated with water as well. It likes to make its nests on top of streams and small rivers. So at first we thought that it was a bird that was because of his high association with water that it would behave in a way like from the population genetics view, it would behave in a way to what we call floodplain birds. So there's this thing in Amazonian biogeography that you categorize birds based on the type of forest that they live. So upland forests and floodplain forests. Floodplain birds, they like to disperse through river channels. So if rivers are not exactly a barrier for them, they can disperse, and then you would see like a signal that's basically a mess, like the alleles are everywhere because they're dispersing. But that's not what happened to the royal flycatcher. So we were fairly surprised at that. So the rivers, the major Amazonian rivers, they act as a barrier. So in each interfluve in Amazonia has about 7 of them. Um, there are specific alleles that are unique to each interfluve. So we thought that was funny, and I mean, it was a surprise in a way, and that's the first thing. And the second thing is that not all of the analyses, the rivers were a barrier. And it was really weird because in the literature, there's this thing called headwater effect. So the narrower the river channel is, the more easily is the birds to cross it. But in Amazonia, like the rivers can be like 8 kilometers wide. In some places in the mouth, you can even see across the margin because it's so huge. Like there's no way the bird can fly across that. I mean, people think a bird it can fly, but
Do you
not
know
really.
how many hours a day can they fly? Is that even a thing?
They can
It's
fly long.
different, right? Depending on the bird.
Yeah, some birds. So there's this thing called hand wing index, and it basically measures how large the feathers are in comparison to the feather of the first finger. And the index is usually a proxy to see how wide a wing is and how round it is. So round wings are very good for maneuverability. So if they like understory and lower strata, they don't fly. They can fly very long because their wings are not built for that. The birds that are on top, so canopy birds, they can fly. They can disperse a lot better. And there have been studies showing that effect. But the royal flycatcher doesn't have that. And it was also like, I'm sorry, I digress. Going with your question, this guy, this author, he made an experiment. So he took a bunch of birds and he put them in like small wooden boxes and like left them out. He took them to the rivers and just left them to see if they could fly. And some birds could, and some birds were very hesitant, but eventually they did disperse. And there's some birds that would just like dip in the water. They could not fly. And it was a 500-meter river. It's not very large.
Yeah.
So like the experiment is like really seals the deal. Okay, it's like they just can't. Like some birds, they just really can't. And we don't know for sure why why they disperse at all. And I mean that's a common. So just going back to your question, how it relates to my present work here. So I'm studying. Basically, I'm gonna do population genomics and a bunch of simulations, like fancy simulations, to see if there are specific signals to genes when rivers shift. So when rivers move. So there's so we call those river rearrangements. And I was very interested in doing that because, like in my master's, uh, the river mouth of one of the major Amazonian rivers, it had this shared frequency of alleles, like near the mouth, and that's very unexpected because the larger the river is, the harder the barrier. So how can that come? And literature says that yeah, this river like shifted its course a bunch of times.
Okay.
So like yeah, if the river shifts, then populations are gonna be transferred. Like they can't do anything about it; they're just gonna be transferred. But it's hard to actually test that in a like in a strong statistical way because most folks what they do is that they use these to see the alleles in space and phylogenetic trees, so how related each population from each interfluve is, and they use these signals to make inferences, but like it's not very statistical. I mean they perform some statistical tests, but these statistics are very unrealistic, like in terms of assumptions and what that's the background in it. So what I want to do is I want to make these fancy simulations and like make the river move in the simulation and then take that and compare to empirical data. So June this year I'm gonna go to the Amazon in
Do you need
excuse
two
me.
assistants? Yeah.
If I need assistance,
Two of them. Two of them. Ladies.
Yes.
you guys
who
know how to
are
work
really good
mismatch.
at
guys are ready?
I once did it once in Costa Rica.
Oh, it's cool.
I didn't touch it,
That's
but
one
I
thing in the
watched people
pandemic
do it.
was a hassle for me. I didn't do much field trip, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be a first.
For how long are you going to be in the field?
A month.
In the
That's awesome.
forest?
In the forest.
No, we're gonna sleep in a boat.
That's even
awesome.
cooler.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you get seasick?
I don't.
I don't even know how to swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making sure.
Rio's a coastal city if you don't know how to swim here.
Yeah. So
You're in
how is
trouble.
okay? So I know that Rio does a lot of Mardi. This is not science at all.
It's
Is that okay with
That's
everyone?
fine.
I know Rio does a lot of Mardi Gras stuff.
Yep.
But y'all don't call it Mardi Gras. You call it
Carnival.
Festive Carnival.
Yeah.
And then, how is that different from how Louisiana celebrates
Really?
Mardi Gras? Yeah.
There's no comparison, dude. It's no way. Rio's the best. Like, so they start. Usually, Mardi Gras here starts at the Catholic states, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
people in Rio are already partying. They have started partying since
That's
December
awesome.
31st.
Okay, I see.
So it's a bunch of like street parties, and they usually gather a band and play popular music. So the specific genre of music called Brazilian popular music. So songs that everybody knows. And like it's
Okay.
a very cool band. So there's the drums and the sax and like what else? It's very rare to see like guitars and chord instruments, but
Mm.
it's usually like drums, lots of drums, sax, kind of jazzy, and it's really
Sounds
cool.
like what you know.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And you
no
can have a
one
bunch
does
of
a jazz
drinks
thing.
and sing, and it's nice and warm. It's
Okay, so let's
real
say
weather.
that Isa and I are going to Rio. Like, what should we do and what should we know when
Yeah.
we get there?
Mm.
Take notes. If you guys want to go
I
to
think
Rio.
the best thing is for you to get a local to be with you at all times.
Okay.
And like have any friend that can like show you around, because
Take advantage of
even
that
locals can
Mhm.
have trouble sometimes finding, because these street parties, they don't stay in one place. They go all across the city, and the city is fairly walkable. So I did that a number of times. At the end of the day, my foot were like out
Yeah.
completely.
So comfy shoes.
Comfy
Yeah,
shoes.
comfy shoes,
Lawn walking.
lots of water.
Water.
I mean, you guys are gonna have probably a few drinks. Everybody's
Everybody's
drinks there, but stay hydrated because it's very sunny, very hot. So I think Fahrenheit it would be 90 degrees out constantly,
Yeah, that's great.
and there are some
It's humid.
very humid. Yes, I don't think
Nice.
it's. I think it's comparable to here,
That's good.
but the
Well,
party gets pretty wild. It's a lot of fun. But
That's
get a
nice.
local so you don't get lost, and like be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your belongings.
Right.
I would usually bring my money in like a fanny bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
for
And one of
real.
those dollar purses that people use at the airport where you can tuck them in your
Yeah.
clothes. That's where I keep my like the money, my card, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But my
Yes.
phone's like fanny bag.
Is people use more cash there or cards?
They use like this money transferring system called Pix. So every bank has it. It's like a government thing, and usually people transfer money for there. But you can use a card. People they always have like patience to
Nice. Yeah.
get money.
It's like out here. Yeah.
Yeah, people don't use cash very much.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good
Near
to know.
here neither.
Yeah. So how different life is here compared to Brazil? At least the student life.
Oh, the
Yeah.
student life? Oh, yeah. In Brazil, you can get very distracted doing a graduate studies.
Really?
That's hilarious.
Dude, like people from Rio, I don't know. It's a different relationship for the people that grow up there with partying. So people can get very used to it. So people just usually start at Thursday, so Thursday, and they end at Sunday. So people usually, well, that can be exactly true, but I mean, I would work every single day, but I will
Mhm.
also party when I could.
That's
It's like,
awesome. That's a good
Work balance.
work
yeah,
life
I have lots
balance.
of friends there. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Um,
cool. I don't have that kind of stamina. One time I drank for 2 days in a row and Mardi Gras, and I was out for like 2 weeks afterwards.
well, I don't have that stamina either, but I mean, I guess
Party life, I guess.
yeah, I mean, get used to it
It was
in a way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For sure.
But Yeah, when I got accustomed to life here, now I get pretty tired as well. And PhD is also a lot more work. But
Yeah.
you're not expected to party this much.
Yeah.
Mhm. I can go to a party every day at least.
That's awesome.
I'm
Because if
surprised.
I
I
love that.
drink, if I don't really drink that much, but
Yeah.
if I do it a lot. I don't know. If that makes sense. No, I guess I don't drink that frequent,
Yeah, yeah.
but then if I do it, I do it good. But I don't have hangover. Is that what it's called?
That's
The
awesome.
next day,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you're blessed. I
no
have
idea.
the worst.
I don't know. And
I'm-
you know the
I'm
other
down for
thing
the
is
count.
like, if I go out and I get home at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I get up the next day at 6.
Jesus.
It's
You're a
just like,
machine,
I
dude.
can't do that. That is a machine.
you know, like,
You just
yeah, automatic. Like,
Ascend.
I don't even need the alarm anymore.
wow. I could sleep till 1 p.m. every single day of
Oh,
my
I
life. if
rot
could
in
let
bed.
me. I literally
100%.
I could do that if I was led to do that.
Okay, so going back when you moved here, did you apply to any other university or you knew you were coming here?
No, yeah. Once I got the invitation from my PI, I was like, it's all or nothing. I'm gonna try this, and if it works. Don't
Nice.
just stay home.
Did you hear about Louisiana State before, like doing the
Mhm.
collaboration with this PI?
Yes. So studying birds, if you don't read anyone that's from LSU, you're reading the wrong papers.
Nice.
Everybody's that works with birds, and LSU has the best genetic resources collection for birds in the world.
Really?
Yes.
I've heard that once or twice.
Wow.
Lots of tissues, lots of good folks that come out of there, and yeah, they're pretty knowledgeable and pretty famous. Honestly, most of them they go out there and like they take over the country basically.
That's
A former creator used to say that. Um, it's a funny story. Because it's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, SEC football, college town,
Yeah.
small South, all that kind of stuff. So he got an invitation from someone of the government offering him to meet folks from M&H, and that's Van, by the way. And when he told us, "Oh, so you mean which one of my students you want me to talk to?" It's
Mm-hmm.
just like
Ah.
everybody comes out from here, and yeah, they go all around the world. I think LSU, like for you know, a university that's not very resourceful when you compare to other universities, does a very nice job studying birds.
That's awesome.
And like, yeah, I mean, there's no way you don't know anyone from LSU.
That's super
Wow.
cool.
That's why I also wanted to come here.
Yeah.
So there's no better place to be to study molecular work birds.
So
Yeah.
this is your second year?
Yes, I former formerly start my third year in March. But so I'm 1 month and no 1 year 8 months here in the United States.
Okay. Nice. Like
So going to the second year.
nice.
And how do you feel? Like, is this what you were expecting to be of your PhD program? Like, I don't know,
What
like,
sense? Like social life.
no, like,
research?
I don't know if you have, in general, I would say, like,
Mhm.
did you have any expectations?
Expectations?
Yeah.
I expected would be a lot of work, but I had no. So I used to live in I mean I didn't live. I spent like 40 days in Wisconsin, and so I kind of had a glimpse of what life is in the United States. Very different from Rio. So I was kind of expecting, to be
Yeah. Wisconsin's
not
also a little different.
not.
Yeah.
But
No, yeah, here's
How are you
a
doing
lot
in
better
Wisconsin?
in
Okay,
my
good.
opinion, right? But like,
yeah.
I think like culturally wise, I might anger some of your listeners. I'm gonna be
That's
careful with
okay.
my words.
You know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know a
Go
lot of crap
crazy,
in
man.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. I don't know
I
anybody
mean,
from Wisconsin. That's fine.
that's yeah, like it's bad.
I'm
And
going to
Wisconsin is bad.
Wisconsin.
So like
It's
my expectations was
especially. Did you go there during the winter or when?
no, I did not get to see the snow there. I was like
Okay.
I think it was in July, so not quite.
Oh, okay. So that's
Ah.
actually kind of a nicer
Yeah.
time, just nature wise.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I
But
got
the
to see the fall
culture.
colors and everything.
I love that.
I mean, I just stayed there for 40 days. I was 18 and I did one of these programs for So I was a foreign exchange student. So
Okay.
like I stuck in high school for a couple of days and that was it.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
And yeah, Baton Rouge is very different in that compared to that town.
Yeah.
First, that town had 2,000 people, and so
Sounds like the Midwest.
nothing
Yeah.
like it,
Yeah.
and like very weird. But I mean, for an 18-year-old kid from Rio, it was like, yeah, this sucks. Like I don't want to be here.
Yeah, literally.
So
But
why did you go there? Like, was that the only option that you
Yeah.
had? Or?
no. So when you start there, there's people that volunteer to do that. Like you don't get to have a chance, which sucks. I wanted to go somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
Yeah, anywhere else.
Jeez, oh man.
Baton Rouge wouldn't be fine. But yeah, expectations was generally positive. Like, I had to adapt, of course, to life here, but I mean, I'm having a ton of fun here. It's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you attended any conference so far?
Does online ones count?
Yeah, if you presented,
Yeah.
research,
Yeah, I presented like my sort of incomplete research because of the pandemic at the Brazilian Ornithology Congress. And I also presented the findings of my master's here at the GRC, Graduate
Nice.
Research Conference.
Yeah.
I did a poster there too. I also did some minor online presentations in a local symposia in Rio. And that was it. The pandemic killed my CV, man. It sucks.
Yeah, it killed mine too.
Okay, but what was at least one positive thing that you guys got from the pandemic?
Zero. No positive.
I
I just like
No,
had to
positive.
stay home and like
yeah.
being scared because Rio is very like has a lot of people.
Yeah.
So like at some point I have to get out of the house and expose yourself. And it was
Yeah.
scary.
That makes sense.
So no positive at all.
No positive. Just a waste of time.
That's valid. I think that's most people's experience. I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to go cross country in my car with a friend. And I was supposed to have a fancy internship at Cornell, but then all of that was just like scrapped.
Yeah.
Because of,
See?
I killed it. But I ended up actually having like a really awesome summer, like visiting family in Oregon. So I drove from like Pittsburgh to Oregon and then back again.
I did kind of the same. But
Really?
From Illinois to Portland.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's awesome. During the pandemic? Or was it?
It was during summer. I don't think that it was during the pandemic. During the pandemic, I had like two friends from India and one from Peru, and they wanted to go to DC, and I was like, let's do it.
This is
And it was COVID times, and it was so cheap. Like we spent like, I don't know. You remember gas?
Yeah,
prices?
gas
They
was
were
ridiculous.
like,
it was like $1.
yes,
What?
Yeah,
That's
during the
crazy.
pandemic. 'Cause nobody was
Everything.
driving, and
Hotels
so
were so
Dude,
like
gas
I
was
can
expensive in Brazil.
yeah.
Yeah. It was during
Jeez.
Bolsonaro's government, so like everything got expensive. But
I see. Okay.
You know, when you go to DC and you take pictures, you see a lot of people always. If I show you my pictures there, nobody.
You didn't edit out anyone.
No, you don't need to. Like, it was a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't like I-70.
Yeah,
I don't like.
there's a bunch of trucks on I-70.
I know. It's
Yes,
horrible.
I drove there once.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
I hated it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it.
But Route 90, I actually don't know the route that goes from like from one coast to the other coast. There's like one route that we took.
that's cool.
Oh.
It was cool. Yeah, going cross country was fun. Although there were like during the pandemic, obviously a lot of people that were Republicans didn't really like wearing masks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes we would go into this shrinky-dink town and nobody was wearing a mask. Nobody cared. And if we wore masks, they'd like look at us and like it'd be weird.
Yeah.
Weird times.
Weird times, bizarre.
I was living in the middle of nowhere, central Illinois, you know.
Yeah,
But people there, they follow the rules. Like,
great.
That's
but
great.
you know, like, that is, I mean, you know, like, talking about political parties here in the U.S., like, you know, Illinois is red, right? But Chicago is blue.
Yes.
Just Chicago.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. I think that they did really good with the pandemic. At least the small town where I was living.
Yeah, there were most of the time people abided by but there were just some small towns. There's one in like Montana that was basically just like a dirt road. and we were staying at a motel. It was bizarre. But yeah, you have to experience the American like road trip. I feel like that's like quintessential.
I'm waiting.
Pastime.
You guys can invite me whenever you want.
We should go. We should
I'm
go
going to
Arizona.
Arizona.
When?
Oh, that's cool.
No. I will drive because Clever is moving there, right?
Oh, crap.
So
Where in Arizona?
Phoenix?
Tucson. That's awesome.
He's going to be a postdoc with Dr. Lee.
Oh,
I know.
that.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
he's going to fly here, and then we're going to do it.
That's so cool. How long is that? I feel like I looked it up once because my grandmother lives in Phoenix, and I didn't want to fly. But it's like 16 hours.
I mean,
right?
only Texas, like 14.
It's a neighbor state. Everything here in this country, that's another thing. Everything is so far, man.
Yeah,
How could this
for
be?
real.
It's a huge country.
Yeah.
What was the biggest culture shock that you?
Culture shock?
Mm-hmm.
Oof. I thought I would be able to nail that one, but culture shock? I think, well, I studied English since I was 7. So I had a pretty good idea on how to communicate with people, but it's still different the way that I express myself in Portuguese and the way that I express myself in English. So like I had to go through this entire personality change in a way to like, yeah, I mean, there's people that say that when you speak another language, you kind of become a different person. Bilinguals can agree.
That's cool.
So yeah, I had to like, I
don't
think my
know.
biggest
I
culture
haven't
shock
spoken
was just like
Spanish.
speaking the language and like, I don't know, like introducing myself, making friends, like
Yeah.
starting from scratch and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that is crazy. I think I've become way more shy when I speak Spanish, but that's only because I don't speak it that well.
Isa,
really-
please. Your Spanish is great.
And thank you, madam. But
Your Spanish is awesome.
yeah, I don't know about that.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, I'd have to go to like a Spanish speaking country and probably live there for a while, like you're doing here, and just like figure out if I'm somebody new or like. But yeah, also making new friends and like making completely new social circles. Also,
That is also part of
determines.
shock.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Do you think that's easier
What,
here than in
make
Brazil?
friends here?
No.
Not really. I mean, so I guess so I've heard that from a few people already. So American people, U.S. citizens, I correct that. U.S. citizens, they're very kind and like on the surface. I'm just framed that way.
Yeah.
Like they wave at you, they say hi, good morning. But like if you actually want to become friends with them, like hey, what's up? Want to hang out or like throw some banter at each other. Like you have to really invest. Like that doesn't happen in real. It's the opposite actually. Like people they don't wave, they're not that kind. I mean, big city vibes. But once you guys are friends, like it's settled. Like
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, in a way that's better sometimes. It's more genuine, I feel like.
I mean,
This is
everyone's
coming from-
different, but yeah, it's also fine. Like I had to adapt to it, and
So what if someone from Brazil is coming and said, "Hey, Luca, I want to make friends in the U.S. Any tips?"
Any tips? Oh, I'm not particularly very good at that either. I don't think I can offer good advice. Um, well, one very positive thing here is that people engage in community activities very much. So I would say get involved and start doing stuff.
Yeah. I like that.
What would you say as an American?
As an American citizen?
Yes.
You know how, like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I have any advice because I don't really know anything different. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So I don't think I have that other, like, perspective of, like, oh, this is how it's different. It's like, oh, no, everybody's, like, says hi and good morning and, and then, like, you don't hang out until you have, like, an excuse to hang out. That's just how it is, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And, yeah, I don't really have much experience outside of that. But, yeah, I think getting involved is a good thing. I think I really like the graduate community here. To be quite honest, I think it's actually pretty good.
That's the easiest way to make friends. If you're interested in coming, like first friends are gonna make are
from the
From
department.
the department, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. I don't know. It's kind of hard to make friends just like even for me if I would just like get a job somewhere and like not have an excuse of like the community of like a
You
graduate.
probably make job friends.
Yeah, job friends, work friends, that's fine, but like, yeah,
they're not
finding
friends.
exactly, yeah.
Your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wouldn't want to say like personal things to these people because
Yeah.
I work with them, right?
Exactly.
So I think it's it's a little different. I've never had that experience specifically. I can probably
I
speak
think that's
for
also a
this.
thing from the US. Like your work friends are your work friends. Because when I got to the graduate, so when I did my master's in Brazil, the friends that I've made there is like because we hang out to all the time. Like we
Yeah.
keep going out to bars and drinking and have fun. Friendship comes really easily.
Yeah.
And it's not anymore just work friends, but just friends that collaborate on projects and do a bunch of stuff together. So and it's kind of funny. So here I have had some experiences like that I had to adapt because in Rio, when some of my colleagues, they would come across me and bump into me in the hallway, they would like wave and say hi and like do a little gossip and like start a conversation. Like it's just not a long conversation. It's like a 5 minute. Hey, you see what happened the other day? Here in the U.S., like when I'm in the lab, they don't talk. Like they usually go good morning, go back to work. Very work centric.
Yeah.
Work centric.
You laugh.
Yeah, I don't know. Our lab we gab sometimes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it doesn't happen to
Could
start
facilitate it.
museum folks that are gonna be watching this. Like, yeah,
It's like
have
work
to be
friendly. I
better.
swear.
We had Sam in one episode.
Oh, Sam is great.
Yeah.
Sam is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
She's
know.
one of the few people that actually like if you come up to her and chat a little bit, she's gonna
No, I
like,
love
That's good.
she's
Sam.
gonna make
Like-
you spend a little more time with her because she's very friendly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sets
we
her apart.
took a couple of classes together because we started at the same. Like, Sam.
Yeah. I'd only met Sam once at a party and then once at the podcast, and I was very excited to talk to her again. She's very cool.
So I know that probably how many years left do you have for your PhD? 3, 4?
24.
Well, technically, I have to get it in 6 years. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I know that probably is too soon to ask, but if you don't, do you want to go to academia after this? What type of jobs are you interested in?
Well, I can only see myself working as a researcher, a biologist. Like I could probably do consulting work, but it's not something that I'm particularly interested in. It's just like, a regular job.
Right.
And I think academia is just like you engage in all these different projects, so you read a bunch of different topics, and that really excites me. So I can only see myself working on that. As for my plans and what it's reality, it's kind of tough. But I want to postdoc around a little bit. So I've been to Denmark actually last year, and it was great. It was awesome. I did a workshop to um, learn the software that I'm gonna be doing this fancy simulations. Excuse me. And like in academia, you've got all these perks of like just going. People pay for you to do research and figure out nice stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested about that. As for like settling down, I would like to be real. I would like to be home. Pretty much.
That's
But
good.
like I can't ask for too much because job market is hard. It's very competitive. So like have to get have to take what you get.
So can you see yourself doing a postdoc in Denmark?
I if it wasn't for the snow, I would have said yes.
I was about to say that.
But like,
Yes.
like
That's
because
awesome.
of because of the snow here and just thinking, okay, so in Denmark it's like that for 8 months.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, it's only for a year. It's not gonna last forever, but
Yeah, and then you will have the
That's a
right
lot.
clothing and like the
You have the right clothing, and then the heat actually works in the buildings, and
Yeah.
then it's a lot more. You kind of get used to it
Yeah.
after a while.
yeah.
Which is fine. But you can't really party. People don't really do stuff unless it's
Yeah.
like indoors, obviously.
Oh,
so
in Denmark? Oh, the
Yeah.
Danish they party hard, dude.
that's awesome.
They know how to party.
That's cool. I
It
didn't
is
know that.
awesome, dude. People in Europe they're very different, but like from my experience in graduate students in general, they're very different. I think. They
That's
like to
cool.
party, go to bars, and have feels like home.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome.
In a weird way.
Yeah. That's cool.
How active are you on social media?
I have an Instagram account. It's as a student, don't time, and I used to have a Twitter. I'm thinking of doing that STEM related, but I don't. It just depends on time. But I use my Instagram a lot. But I just post stuff related to life,
Yeah.
like personal life. So
Yeah.
it's
Right. That's cool.
Do you know Reddit? Do you like Reddit?
Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, but I don't use it very much. People's
That's a
stories
shame.
are very yeah.
Reddit is fun for it's fun for like I have like weird like I like some TV shows and sometimes I follow the Reddit on TV shows and I get like facts and stuff.
Yeah.
I actually got a trivia question right at a bar because I followed r/the Beatles and I like the Beatles a lot and I just know like little facts about them because people on Reddit is stupid
And they
crap.
can give you like very you find everything pretty much like lawyers advices, doctors. I don't know, I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you brought it up, it's actually a pretty good substitute for Twitter. Now that Twitter kind of sucks.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Although
makes
people
sense.
in academia are definitely like moving to Blue Sky, which is basically Twitter. It's just run by a nonprofit
Oh,
organization.
really? Did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's basic.
That's
It's literally
useful.
the same exact like format. And
What
if
is
you
the
go to
other one?
conferences,
Mastodon?
I don't know.
Yeah, because yeah. I'm sorry. What were you saying about Blue Sky?
I don't remember.
Going to
It's just
conference?
better than. Oh
To
yeah.
research
A
the
lot of
what's
people
up.
have their Blue Sky. They don't have their Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Because Twitter used to be like that's where I first like found my PI actually.
too.
Like I it was very like science. All of the stuff that I was following at least was science oriented. But now that that's kind of shaky, a lot of people are moving to Blue Sky. So that's more like where scientists
Good
are.
to know.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Okay, are you ready to give your takes on Reddit story?
All right, let's do it.
Do you want me to read it?
Yes.
Okay.
Have
I
you been
know
to
that's
Pittsburgh?
my favorite.
I have not.
That's my favorite mug.
I need to go to
I've
Pittsburgh.
only been in Wisconsin and Baton Rouge, so I'm going to New Orleans actually in March. That's fun. So
Heck yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you'll love it.
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras.
Let's see what it's about.
Yeah, I
Let's
mean,
see
I think
all
you'll.
what the
I
fuss
think
is all
you'll
about.
say it's different. I
Okay.
think you'll say, "Oh man, these people know how to party." Once you go to like Mardi Gras in New Orleans,
There we go. Yes.
All
yes.
right.
that's a
Mhm.
different vibe altogether.
I've never
Especially
been
from
to.
Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Raising the bar here. I'll be the
It'll
judge
be
of
raising
that.
the bar. It's probably not up to Rio's caliber.
No,
I probably
don't
shouldn't
think
be.
so.
No, yeah.
Don't have.
No, I
like,
know it won't be.
very
I
high-
have. I don't have.
No, I know. No, I know.
I don't have
No.
unrealistic
No.
expectations, but yeah, I think it should be a good time.
Yeah.
For the American standards.
Yes, for American
Oh.
standards, coming from an American, it's fun.
That's awesome.
Okay, this is from r/PhD
Mm-hmm.
page. The name is Smelly Trash Boy, but he is asking.
What was it?
That's his
Smelly
like
Trash Boy?
username.
Okay.
Smelly Trash Boy. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Is it possible to really live while doing a PhD? And this is in the need advice column. I'm doing a master's in molecular biology right now. I'm 50-50 on whether I want to do a PhD or not afterwards. After this master's, I will have very little savings and I'm getting sick of living, scraping by and saving and not being able to afford anything. I'm 25 and have a long-term partner who I would very much like to marry and buy a house and have kids with. I feel unfair to her to put all that on hold so I can do a PhD. Is it at all realistic to pursue these goals while also doing a PhD? I wish I could live two lives, one where I enter the workforce and one where I do a PhD and work on research. Obviously, I can't do that. Edit for context, I live in a really affordable part of the UK.
Tough take.
Yeah.
So, I have not kind of established these sort of goals for myself. I do not like because, life in academia, you're constantly moving around. It can be pretty rough to settle down somewhere, I think. And so, for my advice is that, things should be talked with your partner and kind of to establish the common ground there. So it's like, and it's also how that person wants to work on research. I mean, my master's in UK, it's pretty. I think it's so in Denmark. I met a couple of Brits, and They told me it was 1 year for the master. It's
Even
crazy.
PhDs.
PhDs are 3,
2 or 3.
which is
Oh,
crazy.
okay.
So they do things very fast, and like even if that person would be putting it on hold, and it wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years is a lot
Yeah.
to put in a hold and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But well, as for the money, I mean, it's rough. Well,
Yeah.
and there's no guarantee you'll get a job after the PhD, anyways. So yeah, I'm afraid I don't have good advice for this one. Talk to your partner,
Yeah.
figure where things are gonna stand. But I don't think you'll be able to buy a house. No way.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Not in America.
Yeah. I don't know how things are in UK, but everywhere else is getting very expensive.
Mhm.
Not sure. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
tough.
the more I look at
Tough.
the like prices of houses nowadays, the more I'm like, I am not doing academia. I am getting a very cushy job at some business that's morally acceptable.
That's good. Yeah, masters.
Yeah.
And I guess have a little more patience as well, and just like if things are like in agreement with your partner, then nothing can go wrong. So
Yeah. I like that. What do you think?
Um, what do I think? I know a lot of people that they have 3 kids and they are in a PhD program. I think that it really depends of
they don't want a house though, do they? Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's his hard.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I think that I could not have kids and do a PhD. I think me personally, I think that that would be just too much. And then having a partner, that is a lot of work. Like. But definitely, there are amazing people that they select, and they do a great job. I don't think that. I think that 25 is too soon to get married. In my opinion, but
ooh, hot
That's
take.
valid.
no,
I
no,
can
no. Like
understand that.
for me, like I don't think that
No,
I
yeah.
will. Yeah, but communicate. I think that you just need to. I will say before you get into a PhD program, you need to be 100% sure that this is what you want because it's a big commitment.
Yes.
I will say it's
For
a
sure.
big
That's true.
commitment, and then, uh, yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. You have to have like if you're like for real with the person, you have to have a partner. I think that's okay moving around because you're gonna not know when your next opportunity,
Yes.
and you're not gonna know where it's gonna be either. And I think that's super hard for couples specifically. So as long as you have the conversation, and like if your partner has an amazing career that they want to pursue as well, it's very hard. Yeah, I guess we don't know that from here.
It's not uncommon for breakups to happen that.
Yeah,
for that reason,
exactly.
because life gets in the way, and yeah, it's hard, dude.
Yeah. So I guess the answer is we don't have an
We
answer.
don't have an
We don't-
answer.
Oh boy, yeah, we
That's
don't have
life.
an answer.
It's like,
No right answer for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and we also, I don't really know if they think
In UK,
in UK.
yeah, for
I think
PhDs.
it's better. Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yes. I'm pretty
Well,
sure
it
it's
means
better.
like in academia maybe, but maybe I
I
think
feel
like
like the
the
US pay better.
no idea.
I have no
I don't think
idea.
so.
Yeah, we don't know.
I think in the private sector, like if you are joining a business, there's a lot of money in business in the US specifically. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Luca, for
Thank you,
joining
guys.
us.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic. Thanks
Fun
for
time.
talking with us. Yeah.
Get ready to start this Sunday.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
awesome. I'm surprised one hasn't landed on us sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, So thank you, Luca. Thank you for
Yeah.
being with us. Thank you for sharing your research focus, what you're doing, and for giving us some tips to go to the.
Yeah.
We will definitely take
I will
those
take
tips.
them for sure.
Yeah. So before we go, is there anything that you wanna share or tell to any future PhD students in the museum?
Um, Well, for PhD students, I just would just like to raise awareness on one fact that happened when I was in my undergrad. I should have told that sooner, but anyways. So on the September 2nd in 2018, a fire caught the National Museum in Rio where I was working, and I lost my lab there. People lost all that stuff, and nobody knows about it.
Oh my
Nobody in the
god.
U.S. even heard about it. So yes, like it was. So in Brazil, we have this holiday called the Day of the Biologist, and it's September 1st. And the next day, the museum caught on fire, and it was a historical building because it was the palace from the former emperor of Brazil, and like historical buildings, it's very hard to get fire installations and
Yeah.
remodeling and stuff like that. So, um, it's kind of hard topic to talk because like I went there the next day because fun fact, I used to work with starfish. I wanted to be a marine biologist, but yeah, like I lost my lab there. Like I just, it's just very sad to lose hope of the field that you want to work. So I guess just cherish your collections, cherish your labs, your PIs, and the data. Like these things are invaluable.
Yeah.
And like, yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
sad topic, but I thought I should
That's a
bring it
very
up.
powerful
Yeah.
closer, though. That's
Yeah.
good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So thank you so much, guys, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.